All right, here I am on the Oakland Street Railroad crossing in Holly, Michigan. Now, this right here is another rather interesting crossing owned by the C.N. Holly subdivision, and I actually already did tour a few other crossings in the past here in this area, and yeah, and after further looking on Google Maps and further down the roads from the other few that I toured, this one has an interesting bell combo, especially for a CN crossing, which is very surprising because usually they use like Siemens bells and general signals and whatnot, but this crossing doesn't have any of that, but yet it still has this typical CN lighting and whatnot. But I guess to explain, as you know, dang near had a stroke there, sorry. So I guess I'll explain as I go on. So with that said, let's get on with the tour. So for the first signal, this has a SafeTran double-sided base, and here's the emergency information and the dot tag, and the dot number is 284364J. And there used to be an older dot tag up here, I believe. Probably not, but yeah. And for the gate mechanism, this has a SafeTran gate mechanism, late 2000s, early 2010s, I believe, or maybe before that, like mid 2000s. And this features some Rico LED gate lights and a wind guard. So yeah. And for the lights, this has two pairs of SafeTran 12 by 24 inch dial-light LEDs sitting on a WRS light bracket, which I believe replaced some WRS 8-inch lights in the past. And for the bell, this has a SafeTran mechanical bell, which is quite interesting because you don't see SafeTran mechanical bells on CN lines normally, but on the Holly sub, there is one of them right here. So I guess with all that said, let's go ahead and, so actually I did get this crossing in action just now, and sadly this mechanical bell is dying, so it was hardly audible because the other bell was overpowering it. Well, since it's dying, it might get replaced soon. I'll give you guys a little preview on what it sounds like here. So. Yep, kind of sounds like a SafeTran mechanical bell you would find on the Huckberry Railroad. So yeah, that right there was the first signal. Pretty neat start, has a mechanical bell. Now let's go ahead and move across the street and get on with the next signal. So yeah, I guess with all that said, here's the next signal, which is somewhat similar to the first. And this one has another SafeTran double-sided base. And here's the emergency information once again. And for the gate mechanism, this has another SafeTran gate mechanisms mid to late 2000s with the general signal gate arms, as you can see. And this features some more Rico LED gate lights and a wind guard. You can see that the print on the gate is bubbling up a little bit, and these gate lights look newer. But yeah, and for the lights on this one, this has two pairs of Hawker and SafeTran 12 by 24 inch light heads with dial-light LEDs put on them. You know, this has the Hawker and Siddeley light heads on them. Pretty neat stuff. And these are also sitting on a WRS light bracket, which I believe these light heads were recycled and, you know, replaced some more WRS 8-inch lights in the past, or maybe they just had some laying around. I'm not too sure. But yeah, and for the bell on this one, this has a Western Cullen Hayes Type 4 electronic bell, which is also surprising because I'm not sure what kind of bell this would replace. Like normally, the Type 4s right here is usually what LSRC would use on the Saginaw sub, but I guess the CN Holly sub has one of these. And this bell is set at a faster speed than you would find on the Lake State line because all those bells in that line are all pretty slow. You can see some concrete barriers on the sidewalk too. So yeah, this right here was the Oakland Street Railroad crossing and Academy Road, because this changes to Academy Road after you cross the tracks, but it's still Oakland Street because here's the relay case, which says it on there, at milepost 47.42. Hold on, let me get a closer look. 47.02, that's what it is. Yep, so there's that. So I guess with all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the track view. So down there is heading north towards Fish Lake Road and eventually towards the Owasso area, I believe. Not totally sure what exactly this heads to. I haven't really explored further beyond down there, so yeah. And down there is heading south towards downtown Holly. You can see the Saginaw Street and Broad Street railroad crossings, which both of those have SafeTran Type 1 e-bells. Also towards Sherman Street, where the CN Holly sub and the CSX Lake State Saginaw sub cross via Diamond. And you can see the Diamond signals down there too. And there's also another crossing down there at Coggeshall Street that also has a mechanical bell that I might tour. So yeah, and right here you can see an old whistle post. So pretty neat stuff. So I guess with all that said, this was the Oakland Street Railroad crossing in Holly, Michigan, owned by the CN Holly subdivision. Quite neat stuff. I might need to get this in action soon, even though that mechanical bell only has so much time before it gets replaced. So since it's dying, sadly. So yeah, I guess with all that said, over and out.